I'm Sithrith.
I'm Draculetta.
I'm Atheros.
And you're listening to Radio Free Tyria, the Guild Wars 2 podcast for the casual crowd. So, yeah, we don't have a whole lot of news this week. Drek's not actually with us this week. He's a bit busy today. So it's just me and Atheros, but I think that'll be alright. We do have some news to talk about. So this past weekend, not right now, obviously this is this weekend, but this past weekend was the beta weekend. We recorded before that happened. We recorded episode 1 before that happened, so we didn't get to talk about it a whole lot. We did stream a fair bit during the beta weekend, though. I kind of nubbed up Twitch, and it didn't save it as a VOD. My bad. But we did do beta stuff. We did a lot of Stronghold, like we do, because Stronghold's amazing. But I tried all of the new specializations: Berserker for Warrior, Herald for Revenant, and Daredevil for Thief. Much to Thelros's, I don't know, happiness, I guess, probably.
I guess.
The thief specialization wasn't as good, possibly, as we would have, or as I would have enjoyed. I'm sure Thelros was very pleased that it wasn't very good. It felt very clunky, which is not something you really want with a thief.
Although it seems to be expected from some of these new specializations.
Well, that seems to be the pattern, yeah. When they release a new specialization, the first time it's up for the beta, it's quite clunky or there's something wrong, and then the second time around, it gets sorted out. Except for, like, Chronomancer, which was just amazing, kind of right off the bat.
Broken.
Yeah, or broken, in the case of the Chronomancer. But yeah, so the thing with the Daredevil that makes it special is that the Grandmaster trait lines, like the last set of traits for that trait, it changes your dodge. So you don't just do a regular dodge, you do there's one called Bounding Leap, where like you jump up in the air and then like dive back down, and when you hit the ground, you do damage to enemies around you. And there's another one where you like fling knives out, and then the other one is you just, like, run really fast instead of dodge. But it kind of didn't work so great. The current dodge is very fluid. Like, you're running along, you hit your dodge button, you kind of roll and dodge, and then you resume running, or whatever. And it's very fluid, which is kind of, it's good to be fluid, because the point of the dodge is you're trying to dodge out of the way of attacks from enemies. It makes sense. But these thief dodges felt very clunky. Somebody took the time to time the animations, and it takes the same amount of time to do these new dodges as regular dodges, but it just felt really clunky because, like, the animations, although they took the same amount of time, it didn't look clean. Like, you'd press the dodge button and your character would stand still for half a second, and then jump up and jump down, and then there's, like, another half second where you're just standing still, and then you continue running. It just didn't flow very well, so I'm hoping that they tweak those. But since I don't really play Thief a whole lot, except for, my ha-ha-ha, Rainbow Thieves, ha-ha-ha thing, like, I didn't play it a bit too much. I was really surprised, though, about the Herald, for the Revenant. I was kind of like, shield, whatever, don't really care. And Facet Sucks, I'm just like, they're just toggle skills, whatever, I don't care. But it ended up being really good, especially in conjunction with your, did you have your support Necro at the time when we did the Herald stuff?
I
think the second stream we did, you had your support.
The second stream I had the support Necro, yeah.
Yeah. So with your Necro and my Herald, it was really, really good combination, I think. Because I could put out tons of boons, and you could help sustain the Lord for Stronghold. And it worked really great. But yeah, Herald just generally was really fun, and I found myself, really chomping at the bit to make my Revenant, and I was I'm really excited about Revenant now. I was kind of feeling like Revenant's cool, but I'm not super into it. But now I'm really into it, so I'm really excited. I did kind of feel like it does what Guardians do, but better. Like, I remember thinking, I kind of just want to delete my Guardian and make her a Revenant, maybe? Because the boons thing, I don't know. I'm sure there are people who really like the way Guardians do boons and don't like the way Revenants do boons. But I don't know. I think it is just a matter of personal preference. Obviously, apparently I like the Revenant better. But whatever. The one that I was really surprised, well, I guess I shouldn't have been as surprised, but the Berserker Elite Specialization for Warrior. Like I said last episode, or I think I said it last episode, maybe, in getting ready for it. My warrior is a quote-unquote burn bow warrior, so my build is focused on doing lots of burning condition damage while using a longbow. And so I was like, oh, the Berserker Elite Specialization in theory will fit into this, and in practice it really, really works out great. I can basically put fire combo fields around myself and then switch to longbow and just do tons and tons of fire damage combos. And it's amazing, and I cannot wait for Heart of Thorns to make my warrior a Berserker. Also, it looks really cool because when you go into Berserk mode, like, your body is, like, made out of lava. So that's pretty cool. And also tried Reaper a bit. It's definitely better than it was. I remember I really was super disappointed with Reaper the first beta weekend. And it's definitely better now. I don't think it's quite as awesome sauce as I had been hoping it would be. But it could just be that I need to, play it more. I don't know. But yeah, Stronghold, as always, was great. Something new, I kind of just mentioned it, Necromancers with a support build turn out to be amazing in Stronghold. Thelros knows. We were trying to do this one Stronghold match, and we could not kill the Lord or these two Necros that were guarding it. You wouldn't normally think, oh, Necromancers doing defensive stuff, but there's these two Necromancers we were fighting, and they must have been totally traded for support with blood magic, because they were healing the Lord up completely, and it was amazing. We totally got owned, we totally died, and we lost pretty badly. But it was pretty amazing. I remember we were both pretty frustrated, and that kind of made Thelros redo his Necro.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out exactly how they did it, I guess. I believe you heard about it from someone in one of your guilds that was talking about their utility Necro build. I seem to rotate more on the blood magic. I can't remember what trade it was. I think it was the last tier.
Yeah.
It was,
the Grandmaster
it's taking Shroud Skill 4, I believe, was the important one. Because you would channel that for like a good few seconds. And obviously you'd heal yourself, you'd heal everyone around you, and partially revive. And yeah, like, I don't want to understate how much of a pain it was in that game, by the way. Those Necros, like, we couldn't kill them at all.
Nope.
I swear it was just the two of them. And there was like 5 of us trying to kill it.
Yep.
Wouldn't lose health at all. And we were watching, like, after we got wiped, we were watching the Lord's health go, like, from, was it like 60%? Maybe less? And it went all the way back up to full.
Yep.
Eventually. It was just so annoying.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try it out. And I ended up finding a decent build. And I think the main thing I'm finding is that it's kind of like I was trying to do my Guardian utility build previously. Mm-hmm. It's not quite, I guess it's not quite as much utility because Guardian's just living, walking boons, but
right.
There is a ton of sustain there, but then I also still do okay damage. Right. I'm not going to like burst someone down, but if there's someone who's like 25% health, I could probably kill him.
Yep. I
could just, by using the build, and probably kill him. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty great. And it's not even just like, keeping yourself alive. It's also, by using certain Death Shroud skills, you can heal up allies, which is a huge part of it. So it can be pretty unstoppable, especially if there's 2 Necros traded that way. It's pretty crazy. So that was the beta weekend. It was pretty good. I didn't do any of the PvE stuff, again, because I'm trying to stay spoiler-free for the most part of the story stuff. I want to, experience it the first time when it's all put together in live and stuff, so just kind of waiting on that. In the past week, we also had they had this guild emblem contest going on where people could design new guild emblems. So, when you make a guild in game, you can set up a cool-looking guild emblem. So they had a contest to set some new ones, and the winners include a Quaggan with, a little stick and bag with stars over it, a little Quaggan with a bow and some stars. There's also a dragon with like X's over its eyes because it's dead and it's got a sword stabbed through its head. A llama, because ArenaNet really likes llamas for some reason. And then the final one is a Mordrem wolf kind of face where you can see the like wolf skull and then the flower petals around it. It looks pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool for like a Mordrem themed Sylvari guild. And let's see what else happened this week. They put out a article, and they also talked about it on Points of Interest number 33, about the Mordrem Guard, which are some enemies that we're going to be fighting in Heart of Thorns. And Mordrem Guard are Sylvari that have turned to Mordremoth. So that's kind of intense, because they're not just mindless enemies. These are probably Sylvari who are members of the Pact. And they have now turned to Mordremoth because they heard the call of Mordremoth, and now they fight for Mordremoth. But that means they still retain all their memories. They know how the Pact works. They know who you are. Like, they know all that stuff. So that's kind of intense. And so in the Points of Interest, Leah Hoyer, who is the narrative director, she kind of went into some more detail. And apparently Sylvari, they said that, any Sylvari can turn, and it's not just like, oh, Mordremoth sent out one big, hey, Sylvari, come here, be my minions. Like, it's an ongoing thing. So even if your Sylvari resists the first call, they might succumb later. And apparently part of the story that you interact with in Heart of Thorns will be, like, you come across a Sylvari Pact member who's having a really hard time kind of resisting the call of Mordremoth. So that's really interesting. Also, another thing that I thought was really, really interesting, and I'm really glad they touched on it, that not necessarily just because somebody is Nightmare Court, which is like, before Mordremoth was like the evil Sylvari faction, just because they are Nightmare Court does not mean that they're going to go full into, like, yeah, let's support Mordremoth, because their whole thing is they don't want to follow anyone. So I think that's going to lead to some really interesting story stuff.
I think we actually speculated before, about this whole thing of maybe the Pale Tree is actually sort of shielding Sylvari a bit from Mordremoth, so maybe while they're not directly like just straight Mordrem, they may be more susceptible to it.
Yeah, I think we've definitely kind of theory-crafted about this before, where, the Pale Tree kind of shields Sylvari from succumbing to Mordremoth. So Nightmare Court, who have kind of rejected the Pale Tree's and like Ventari's teaching, they are more susceptible to turning to Mordremoth, maybe, and probably definitely like the Soundless Sylvari, who are kind of like, they've rejected the Pale Tree and Sylvari, and like they've disconnected themselves from the Dream, which is the thing that Sylvari are like connected to. But like they're not like, oh, let's like corrupt the Dream. Like Nightmare Court's thing is, let's corrupt the Dream because we think that the Dream brainwashes Sylvari, but Soundless are just like, I just don't really want to have any part of that at all, generally.
Yeah.
So that should be really interesting. But speaking of
Mordrem, their last paragraph, actually, then like they mentioned that the fact that while like not every Sylvari has succumbed yet, that doesn't mean they're not going to in the future. It's kind of just like a when's it going to happen thing.
Right.
Which I'm sure will come to play for certain story-based Sylvari. Yeah. Beginning with T and
ending with Trahearne.
E. And, rhyming with Trahearne.
Trahearne. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, they said, even your Sylvari player character could turn to Mordremoth. And I feel like like Leah Hoyer heavily hinted in the Points of Interest that there are multiple paths to choose from in regard to that. So, will I get to have my Mordrem Sylvari?
I'm just wondering if that's going to be like here's a thing that's going to happen, now you have to spend 10 minutes going through this thing to get back, or if it's actually going to have real repercussions.
Lasting consequences.
Yeah. Because, on the hand that it does have, like, really big consequences, and there's no way for you to sort of avoid turning in the first place, people are going to kind of feel upset that they've been hit by the RNG.
Right.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, I could see that happening. We know so little about what the choices are and, like, what is going to happen that it's kind of hard to speculate. We just know, Sylvari can maybe turn, they might have choices to make, and it's super vague, so I'll just hope that, people can make the choices they want.
I might be tempted to go through with my Mesmer first. I don't know. I'm sort of torn between my Mesmer and Necro. I kind of prefer the more Necro-based gameplay right now, but I really want to see how Sylvari plays out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to do it on my Mesmer as well, just because she's done... No, I haven't done the whole Living Story Season 2 on my Necro. But, like, my Necro and my Mesmer are total opposites. My Mesmer is, like, a little kind of goody-two-shoes-y kind of person. So, she'll be like, oh, I'm fighting against Mordrem. Whereas my Necro is just like, I hear the call. So, yeah. It'll be interesting.
You'd just be, like, begging them to take you.
Basically, I'd just be like, come on, let me just let me turn. Just let me do it.
Let me convert.
Yeah. Speaking of Mordrem, though, this weekend, right now, there is the Mordrem Invasion event, also known as the Mordrem Are Coming, or whatever. Off to a bit of a rocky start, and also just generally kind of a rocky event that's going on. They had some issues starting off. The first couple of hours of the event, the rewards were not working, and people who were doing the event were not getting any rewards. So people were, understandably not super pleased. They finally rolled out a fix, and now you do get rewards. And, of course, just to recap this event, basically in 3 zones, Kessex Hills, Diessa Plateau, and Brisbane Wildlands. So it's all in about, like, level 15, level 18 areas. Mordrem minions are coming in and invading, and the goal is obviously to kill them, and you get stacks of a little buff. Like, every time you complete one of these, there's a whole lot of, like, little events going on, and they lead up to, like, once all of the invasion is done in a certain zone, then it's completed and you get the rewards. So every time you complete one of these little events, you get a little stack of a buff in your buff bar thing, and it's like, oh, you've killed one thing. So after getting a stack of 5, you get 5 Mordrem Blooms. After 10, you get 10 Mordrem Blooms. Then after 15, you get another 5, and then 20 and above stacks of this buff. Obviously, 25. So not a whole lot of Mordrem Blooms, considering that some of the rewards from the rewards vendors in these locations require 450 or something Mordrem Blooms to buy them, plus 10 gold, or 5 gold, or whatever, for the items. So it's really steep pricing rewards for this event. And it's not great. And the other problem a lot of people have with the event is that killing these Mordrem, you don't get XP, you don't get karma for completing the events like you normally do. And, like, the Mordrem minions do not drop any loot. Like, they don't drop vendor trash, they don't drop weapons and armor or anything. So the only reward that you get from the events is, sentimental, personal, inner value, I guess, and these Mordrem Blooms at the end. And a lot of people have criticized the event, saying that it encourages selfishness, because you can just run around to each of the events and tag one mob per event, and you'll get credit for it, so you can rack up the stacks. But then, it's better for you if you just don't even bother to actually do the event. So a lot of people are not pleased with it, and they've acknowledged this, and they said, please give us feedback, because we want to be able to make better events in the future. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's fine. That's a good response, I think. I think some people maybe expected them to just turn off the event entirely until they fixed it or something, which is kind of unrealistic. Personally, I wasn't, like, super excited about the event. Like, I was like, oh, cool event, whatever. But now that I'm not keen on it, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not mad about it or anything. We did stream a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see what that was like. It was quite riotous.
It was quite Silver Wastes.
No, it wasn't really like Silver Wastes, to be honest. I feel like the Silver Wastes are a lot more organized.
I mean, the actual event felt Silver Wastes. It's just like, here's a bunch of Mordrem, they're here, kill them.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's really what it was, and I don't know, it's just, I wasn't, like, when they announced this, I'm like, okay, I get it, you're trying to do a big cold thematic. We're going for Mordrem, guys, and he's doing stuff. But I didn't really care that much, and since apparently it didn't go as well as some people hoped, I'm kind of like, okay, I still didn't care, so it's just not really bothering me. I get that, the bugs and the way panning wasn't very good. I can understand being annoyed about that if you were looking forward to it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the rewards more than anything else.
Yeah.
'Cause some of them, I guess, were pretty good since they seemed to be harder to get.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because the rewards are all from Living Story Season 1, so a lot of people, I guess, were looking forward to them because, they didn't get a chance to get them during Living Story Season 1. It's also a little strange that they build this as a event, to help encourage new players and get new players involved in events, but then the purchase, the price for all these rewards is really high, and, a new player is not going to have 10 gold. No. When I was a new player, I feel like it took me ages to earn even 5 gold. I felt rich when I got 10 gold the first time.
Yeah, I kind of did too.
So, I don't know.
Especially for a lower cut, because you pretty much just have vendoring things, because none of the things you pick up are actually worth that much.
Right. So,
not for a while.
And
especially considering these are being done in the lower level zones.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, they're level 20-ish, around about.
Mm-hmm.
It's how do you expect people, it's either you expected people who are higher level to do these, in which case, why are they in these zones?
Right.
This is a law reason, I don't know.
Mm.
Or, they just, I guess, overshot how much money they thought people had.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and I guess it really doesn't help that the Mordrem minions then don't drop any extra loot, because then they don't have anything extra to vendor, so you can spend half an hour killing Mordrem, and then literally all you get from it is the 30 blooms or whatever. And another problem is, I don't know, I haven't done it in Brisbane, Wildlands, or Diesa Plateau, but I know in Kessex Hills, we had a really hard time with the event, even as level 80s, because the Mordrem events spawn on top of the Toxic Alliance events that are still around from Season 1 for some reason.
And those are hard on their own.
Those are really hard on their own. So then you have all these Mordrem minions and the Toxic Alliance event, and both of those events are scaled up because there's so many people around, but then you get people who are just jumping from event to event, tagging mobs and then running away, that we died a lot. We died a lot.
At least 10 minutes to do that one.
Yeah. It took ages.
When the average is maybe 3 to do one normal event of that kind, it was really hard because people kept dying, and obviously the toxic things just killed you.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous.
It was nuts. So, hopefully they learn from this, though, and the next set of events they do will be better. I think that's about it for, game news, official ArenaNet news, because they didn't do a specialization announcement or anything this week, which is kind of weird. I was expecting them to do Druid reveal the Ranger Elite specialization last week.
Yeah, is that the last one they haven't done yet?
They haven't done Druid for Ranger, and they haven't done what has been data mined the name as Forge for Engineers. They haven't done those two. People are getting antsy. And
imagine.
Yeah, well, Rangers are especially getting antsy. There's some really weird stuff going on this week. Over at 10 Ton Hammer, this whole thing's really weird. What happened was 10 Ton Hammer posted an article, and it was called, hold on while I click the link, called Persistent Worlds, Where is the Profession Developer Engagement? Well, with Druid, they announced, they didn't announce, I think when they announced Heart of Thorns was the expansion, they had that teaser video, and one of the professions that you could see in this was a ranger wielding a staff. And then one of the things, when they were and there's going to be elite specializations, including the druid specialization for rangers, where you'll get to wield a staff. So we know the name of it. We know the weapon. We don't know what exactly the thing is going to do. So it's kind of weird that they haven't done that announcement for that, or that reveal for that, or, well, I guess it's already revealed, but you know what I mean, for that specialization, that they're leaving it till potentially last or second to last. So people are getting antsy about it, and over at 10 Ton Hammer, writer Lewis Burnell released a article called Persistent World, Where is the Profession Developer Engagement? And he writes about how Rangers have all these bugs, and how whoever is developing the Ranger has not, spoken with the community as much as developers of other classes have. and also notes that he tried to reach out to ArenaNet to set up a quote-unquote profession health check, where every month he intended to email them a list of questions for each profession, and the idea being that it would improve discussion, etc., and the response was, that's a really good idea, but sorry, we're really busy with Heart of Thorns. Which, yeah, they're working on an expansion, that makes sense. So that went up, and then shortly thereafter, it got removed from 10 Ton Hammer. People began immediately speculating that ArenaNet forced 10 Ton Hammer to bring down this article. However, I don't think that's the case. I think the editors, or whoever in charge of 10 Ton Hammer and this column specifically were like, nope, remove it, we're taking it down. It doesn't help that the author cannot or will not give specifics, just says, sorry, I can't discuss it. I'm sure you can appreciate it wasn't an entirely positive article, and a decision was made to take it down rather than to allow it to remain published. He posted this as a response on Reddit, because obviously somebody posted on Reddit, hey, this 10 Ton Hammer article got taken down. So he went on Reddit.
The internet never forgets.
The internet never forgets. So that's why we still have access. You can still, using Webcache, Google Webcache, you can still go and read this article. It's not down. You just can't, quickly and easily find it. But if you know where to look, you can find it. And you can find all the discussion you'd ever want about it. So people are very upset, and people are like, oh, this is clearly ArenaNet doesn't want any negative press before Heart of Thorns, and I don't buy that. You and Drac last week were like, oh, they planned the IGN Twitter leak thing, and I don't think that happened either. I do not subscribe malice where stupidity is more likely the reason. I'm not necessarily saying like this article is stupidity, but I'm just saying that, maybe the editors were just like, we don't want this kind of article on the site, we're gonna remove it. The end. That's, I think, just what happened, basically.
Yeah, I think either there was a mistake in the article somewhere, or maybe not, less likely since they haven't said anything about that. Or, simply that it was maybe too negative, and in the way it was written in a negative sense. Like, you can write negative articles, like you see them every so often, but like one that was maybe less accusatory, possibly. Right.
And also maybe that it's a column rather than like an editorial piece. That could also be part of it. I don't know.
As for his actual comments, I know he mentioned things about them, well, in general, not communicating about specific professions enough. I don't place that much importance on developers talking about specific classes that much. I don't really think that it does that much.
No, I agree.
You can see certain cases of developers going like, yeah, hey, I post in these forums all the time, but how much of what they talk about actually gets done?
Right.
Like, I think, like, a very low percentage. Occasionally, maybe this is like this little niche thing, like a little change for one skill that maybe helps a bit. But that's like the very rare occurrence, and I think that's like usually the most you get.
I think that the important thing is that the developers read feedback and they read forums and they like see what problems people are discussing. But I don't, like you said, I don't feel like them actually responding to the feedback is necessarily always going to be helpful. I know people obviously feel better when they see a developer posting in their forums or their Reddit or whatever, like, oh, look, they really are listening, kind of thing. But I don't think that's necessary, and, as long as they're working on it, I don't know. Although, of course, some people would argue that, oh, the Ranger developer isn't working on it, because a lot of people think that Ranger class is terrible, and I wish Drac were here today. Obviously, he plays Ranger. So that would be good for him to talk about it. I have a level 80 Ranger, but I hardly ever play her. I don't think it's a bad class. It's just not my cup of tea. Sure, there's some things that could probably be fixed, but I don't think it's a terrible, unviable, very bad class, like many people seem to think it is.
Yeah, and as far as this, I think you were specifically talking about this beta, like this expansion beta. I mean, I don't play. Obviously, I'm not in the beta, so I can't really test the changes myself. But from sort of, I guess, second-hand experience of like playing with and against people in on these new classes, like especially your Reaper and Revenant.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're responding pretty well. I mean, the Reaper and Revenant both, when they first came out, were incredibly clunky and ineffectual.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's too much, I don't know, but...
Well, Revenant, certainly.
Like, the Revenant especially was completely ineffectual when it first came out. You just didn't do much of anything, no matter how you built.
Yep, I would just get
and,
killed. I couldn't do damage. It was just bad. But,
and you had no real utility either.
Right, but they've listened and they've changed it quite a bit. Like I said with Reaper, it was pretty bad the first beta. It's definitely better this time. I haven't played Chronomancer or Dragon Hunter since their first beta, but I'm sure...
they seemed fine when you first played.
They seemed fine. So it's just a matter of, just wait. I think it'll end up being okay.
That's my view on it, at least.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, yeah, like, the only other thing, I guess, is, like, the little things that, like, little bugs that seem to get left for years.
Right.
It's just a part of MMOs.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get used to that. Like, you
Mhm.
can say, like, that's making its and it's not acceptable, but these games are huge, and all this code ends up getting very tangled over the years, so...
Right, that's the thing. For us players, it might seem easy to just go in and, like, fix, oh, well, when you name this pet this, it should stay with that type of animal, or whatever. But we don't know how that system works, like, how that's coded. It might interact with other things. It could be based on something else entirely, and so changing it would require changing the original piece of code that influences something else. We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
like
We can't see that.
I'm thinking of is specifically that pet one, because I've actually experienced that when I rolled one for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, it's a bit annoying, but then how often do you change your pets around?
Well, that's the other
it's
thing.
Like per slot, right? So.
And that doesn't really affect... That's just the name. It's not like, oh, the pet's broken because I couldn't name it Fido. Like, it's not. And this is coming from someone who's really big on naming and aesthetics and everything. So,
I like pet names.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we know. But, yeah, I don't think it's as big of a deal, and so, yeah, whatever.
Kind of overblown, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just overall.
Yep, I definitely agree. So what have you been up to this week, besides, betas and killing Mordrems and funsies?
Yeah, I haven't really done that much. I still kind of slacked on my Guardian, because I haven't played him too much.
Still have an issue with your build?
Yeah, the Guardian thing is a problem. I've been trying to find a good build for him in PvP. I know there must be some, because we've fought Guardians where they've been tanky pieces of the
Scrit.
tank.
Yeah.
Scrit, that works too. And they still hurt like a mother. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, I hate to say it, but you might consider just going to metabattle.net and looking at builds there. Usually when I'm stumped on a build, I go there, I look at, obviously, what works, and then I tweak from there.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Like, I know they have builds there, but I imagine it was the more damagey focused builds. I kind of want to try and find something like the Necro, that I found something that works, where I can kind of help my teammates while being somewhat effective on my own. Because, I want to make very clear how bad that initial Guardian build was when I was on my own, because it was absolutely horrible. I was like, there were like 2 or 3, maybe I think it was just 2, Twitch, and not Twitch, I'm thinking of, Scrit bombers.
Right.
Trying to break down the gate. I could not kill them.
Twitch bombers.
I was thinking of the lens. Because there's a rat in that. But, Scrit bombers. Literally, I could not kill them.
Right.
For the life of me. I was trying to spam all the boons I had, the damaging ones. I just couldn't do anything.
Right.
But then when I'm with someone, like that one time that we 2v based.
Right, yeah.
We literally killed the entire camp on our own, including the Lord.
Well, I do know there's a medic guardian build on Meta Battle. I don't know how good it is for damage, but you might consider taking a look at it. Or talk to Sarah, because I know she does a lot of play with her guardian now, so she might have some tips for you.
Yeah, I might have to chat. I think I may have tried that before, I don't remember. I'll have to look again, because I know I hadn't, at the time at least, tried too much around the traits and such, so yeah I'll have to try that. Because I do like the Guardian. I like being able to help teammates, and the boon giving is kind of giving me nostalgia for the old Captain in Lotro, so
Yeah.
that's always fun.
I think that's why I ended up really liking the Revenant, because, boons and
Yeah, just like
Captain
that
feels...
time we killed the entire base on our own, and then the other matches we had where, like, I could keep you alive while you're just killing everybody, and it was just, that was really fun for me. That's how I like playing games generally. I'm not that much of a big DPS person,
Right.
like in any kind of game, MOBA or whatnot. I just love sort of helping the teammates kill everybody.
Yeah,
usually.
Same. I'm definitely more of a support person. Although, well, then that's funny because then I main Necro, who's like the selfish class. I just like the theme of Necros. But yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to check that.
Yeah,
Hopefully
definitely.
I can find something that works.
Or if any listeners have some suggestions. I remember, I don't know if he listens to our new show, but when we were on Guild Wars Players, Ultra from Guild Wars Reporter, I remember suggested a build to me for Guardian. I might have to go find that email and show you that build. But yeah, if any listeners have some Guardian build suggestions, that'd be cool.
Maybe Mesmer's too, actually, because I know I've got a Mesmer build that's I'm quite fond of. It's very bursty. Mm-hmm. That's quite fun. Maybe might look into trying a more utility Mesmer. I don't know if those really work that well, but it could be something be just fun to try out.
Yeah, that could be.
I haven't thought about that, but I might need to look into that too.
I bet with Chronomancer, there's definitely some options for that.
Oh, I'm sure there is, considering.
Oh man,
we've been wrecked by them.
We got so wrecked by Chronomancers during the beta.
Two Chronos and a normal one, right?
Yeah, so it was 3 Mesmers, one was just a regular Mesmer, 2 Chronomancers, and they just wrecked our shit. Like, those, that shield skill where they send out the clock, and it stuns you, and it comes back, and then they can just, like, do whatever. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. And then also having to deal with them doing continuum shift where they drop their little time bomb, run around, do whatever they want, and then, like, even if they've, like, gotten down, they just go back to where they dropped the time bomb, and...
On top of what the normal Mesmers just do naturally.
Right, on top of their natural DPS.
Around, and you can't see where they are.
Times 3! It was nuts.
Oh, God. It was terrible, but very interesting, so I might have to maybe try that.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that about covers it for what I did this week as well. Mostly just beta and that stuff, and more Silver Wastes, which isn't really worth talking about, because I just always do Silver Wastes. I did find out something new this week, though, about the game that's really interesting, and it's actually relevant, because we were just talking about Mesmers. Apparently, okay, so, with Mesmers, when you drop a portal, there's kind of like this, like, little crackly ding, 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 ding kind of sound. Like that. Mm-hmm. There's like a weird sound when you put down Mesmer portals. Yeah,
we're very, very used to using portals.
Yeah, we use Mesmer portals a lot because of jumping puzzles. So that sound that a Mesmer portal makes is actually the Guild Wars 2 theme that you hear like when you start up the game and when you're in character selection. It's that theme played on a music box and then like played in reverse. That's the sound that the Mesmer portals make. That's crazy. I thought. Anyway.
Yeah, I would never have thought it was like that.
Yeah, I don't know how somebody figured that out, but it's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. It's one of the like little touches that can be cool to find in games.
Yeah, and another thing, like the reason I found this out was because for the Herald specialization for Revenant, the way it works is like the Herald specialization, the legend that you can tap into is Glint, and when you channel the facets for the Herald, like channeling the boons, basically. Each facet, like every time you channel a new facet, it plays a different part of the theme from Glint's lair in Guild Wars 1. That's also pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really cool that they put that much thought into the audio editing for this game.
Yeah. There's always things you don't expect them to have, and I still can't find, like, you sometimes see these sort of things that, like, people find. I don't know how they find them. I really don't.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know if it's, like, in the game files, or if they just randomly think, what happens if I play this backwards?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, maybe they were doing this for a video or something, and they found it by accident.
Maybe. I mean, I can see figuring out the Glint thing, because that's, like, not played backwards or anything. It's like, if you only have the music turned up, maybe, like, you turn it on if you've been playing Guild Wars 1 a lot, maybe you hear it and you're like, oh, wow, that's cool, but the Portal one is crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned that this week, and it was pretty cool. And I think that's about it for the show. We did get some asks on Tumblr from one I can talk. One user one user named ItzyBats on Tumblr sent us a number of tells, or not tells. Wow, what game is this? Tumblr asks, and I'll just read the first one because it kind of sums up everything. Speaking of a beautiful fairy char, because last week I talked about fairy chars. Hey, I just listened to your usual for your casual podcast. I hope you keep uploading to Tumblr. I thought it was really great. You all have nice, easy listening voices, and it flowed very naturally. You kept me interested, and I was able to follow what you were talking about, because I'm a noob. I'm looking forward to the next one. So yeah, thanks for listening, and thanks for liking our show so far, ItzyBats. And thanks for sending all the Tumblr asks, or tells, as I just called them for no reason. It's good to hear that we are understandable, because sometimes I listen and I'm like, is anybody gonna get what I'm talking about? So yeah, thanks for listening, and I think that's about it. That's the show. Any other thoughts from you?
Nope.
Nope.
Don't think so.
Nope.
Nice to hear from fellow noobs, though.
Yes, because we are certainly, definitely, assuredly noobs. So yeah, thanks for listening. Abs?
Ramps.
Ramps, yes, ramps.
That's testament to it, if nothing else is.
Yeah, we don't know how to use ramps. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week. If you want more Radio Freeteria, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and over at radiofreeteria.net you'll find our RSS feed. Don't miss out on our live streams. Every Saturday at 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we record Radio Freeteria live at twitch.tv/radiofreeteria. We also stream Guild Wars 2 gameplay on and off throughout the week. If you want more news from us, you can find Radio Freeteria on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and Tumblr. And of course, for more information about us and our show, you can always check out radiofreeteria.net.